MSNBC doesn't know what to do. They're freaking out. Why? Because they've lost audience. But most importantly, they've lost touch with America. America has spoken. And it is said, we want Donald Trump. And whatever hell he brings with us, and the good as well, it is what it is. So Morning Joe, the show for the people inside of the Beltway. The show that has an outsized punch for what it is audience-wise. Confess something today. A confession so large, so crazy, that I'm sure people inside the Beltway, and yes, even at MSNBC, are going, what the hell happened?
Over the past week, Joe and I have heard from so many people, from political leaders to regular citizens, deeply dismayed by several of President-elect Trump's cabinet selections, and they are scared. Last Thursday, we expressed our own concerns on this broadcast and even said we would appreciate the opportunity to speak with the president-elect himself.
What? Oh, yeah. They want to speak to him. Oh, my God.
On Friday, we were given the opportunity to do just that. Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
Now, quick backstory here. Trump got on the bandwagon of a conspiracy theory that Joe Scarborough murdered somebody, a former aide of his or somebody like that. I'm not quite sure. Can't even remember what the conspiracy was. It's one of the falling outs they have. Because remember, pre-2016 election, they were pals. Then afterwards, something changed. There was a twist, if you will, in their friendship. Continue, guys.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
What we did agree on was to restart communications. My father often spoke with world leaders with whom he and the United States profoundly disagreed. That's a task shared by reporters and commentators alike. We had not spoken to President Trump since March of 2020, other than a personal call Joe made to Trump on the morning after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania.
I was going to say, Trump loves it when people come back to the fold. And for all the horrible things they've said about Trump for the last umpteen years, the reality is the fact that you're giving him a opportunity, Morning Joe and Mika, to come and speak to you. Could you imagine Biden or anybody on the left doing that? Where Ducey or any of the people that are on the morning shows or even Brett Baer having the opportunity to sit down? No, you wouldn't, because it just would never happen. Trump likes the fact that people come back and say they want to talk to him.
In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful. He was upbeat. He seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially...
You should never ask. He's the president of the United States, or soon to be again. Should always want to speak to the president. Should always want to have a chance to challenge him. Should always want to have a chance to find out what his perspective is. Hence the reason why you guys have flailed over and over again, because you were never interested in what, quote unquote, the other side had to say, except for deeming them evil and bad, Nazis, racist, and demonizing them across the board in just about every move they made. Yet, alas, they won. So maybe you should go, maybe we should find out exactly what the deal is.
Between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we? 5 years of political warfare has deeply divided Washington and the country. We have been as clear as we know how in expressing our deep concerns about President Trump's actions and words in the coarsening of public debate. But for nearly 80 million Americans, election denialism, public trials, and January 6th were not as important as the issues that moved them to send Donald Trump back to the White House with their vote. Joe and I realize it's time to do something different. And that starts with not only talking about Donald Trump, but also talking with him.
80 million people. Send him back to the White House. 80 million people. Why? Think about this. This guy was done and dusted on the 7th of January. Lo those many years ago. And through that, court cases, civil suits, a conviction, all of that stuff, people still said, might give him a try. I might give him a try. And along the way, continued to push forward like a phoenix rising from the ashes. He became president again. And going to talk to him is a good thing. We should all be talking to each other, regardless of party affiliation. Find out what binds us, what makes us the country that we are, and then say, hey, look, we've got disagreements. I'm willing to hear your side. You should hear my side, and we can go from there. It is never going to be perfect. But until you realize that the other side isn't the enemy, you're going to continue to get your ass handed to it. Stop talking down to the American people. That's why you failed. Start talking to them. And most importantly, start listening. That helps tremendously as well. Just point it out there. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, do all those things. And we look forward to talking to you again. God bless you guys. Happy Monday.